All right, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever the heck in the world you are. It's V, the girl economist, and the notorious, glorious Senor Garia himself, the monetary monkey of mayhem, and we are live. RogueNews.com is where you can find us. It's me and El Cuco running the airwaves. We're making this broadcast. He's making this broadcast coming out crispy and clean. You know what I mean? So check out our sponsors on the scene. These are our paid sponsors, mycbdedibles.com. mycbdedibles.com. Whether you want the best types of deliciousness to get your CBD fix on, get it in the most attractive packages possible, mycbdedibles.com. And also check out Watch Us Trade. If you want to learn how to trade cryptocurrencies, go to the watchustrade.io. watchustrade.io. You can go month to month on credit card. You can go 3 months on Bitcoin. You can go 6 months on Bitcoin. Whatever the heck you want to do. A lot of people start with just a credit card payment. They make some profits. Then they switch directly to they switch directly to Bitcoins. So it's pretty awesome. With that being said, Siege, what's going on, brother?
Hey, V, doing great for this. It's kind of quiet today for some reason. It's kind of eerie, quiet. I feel like there's a lot going on in the background that we don't know about. A lot of theories. People leaving the administration, people leaving, coming, resigning. I don't know, V. What say you?
It's interesting. Resignations in the air. Resignations in the air, and I don't care. Because it's all about a political drama. Well, I know it's a tough time being a libtard. Did you hear that Ruth Bader Ginsburg is not coming back? She's going to retire in January. Did you hear about that?
Oh, I can believe it. Her health is terrible, right? I mean, she's...
Yep. If old Ginsburg, if she retires in January, that will put the far left in a very, very precarious situation, Siege. I mean, I kind of feel bad for the left. They can't seem to catch a break. Losing after losing after losing after losing. It must be hard right now. It must be very hard for them. So my heart goes out for you, leftists.
I'm thinking they could put her in a wheelchair, put her up right next to Hillary. They could be in wheelchairs together.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, that's wrong. I know some people that are confined
like weekend at Bernie's, bro. It'd be like weekend at Bernie's. Anyway, it's going to be interesting to see how these things play out and how things play out for the larger geopolitical play. And folks, if we want to talk about geopolitics, you can't talk about geopolitics without talking about the Gadfly. If you haven't done so already, go to thegadfly.vhx.tv, thegadfly.vhx. That's Victor Hotel X-ray .tv. Okay, and go there and join. I'm there, Willie's there, Paul's there, Ken's there. The entire quartet is there. So go there and join. It is the place to be. The Gadfly over at thegadfly.vhx.tv. And Siege, with that being said, bro, a couple of things we want to cover. We want to get into this. We're looking at the global geopolitical play here. We're looking at how things fit. We're looking at, some of the situations that are happening in the ASEAN nations, with Global South, with the One Belt, One Road Initiative, with the RCEP, RCEP, all these trade zones and trade unions and whatnot. And, recently the Malaysian Prime Minister fumes. Obviously, we've been cheated by Goldman Sachs. And Goldman Sachs, folks, if you don't realize, it is part of the hyenas. It is part of the jackals. It is part of the economic jackals that are sent throughout the world, getting themselves into all sorts of financial malarkey, graft, divisive deals, dangerous criminal enterprises, extortion. I mean, you name it. You name it. These guys are as dirty as it comes. Right now, we have the Malaysia Prime Minister, Goldman Sachs, famously avoided liability after the Libyan Investment Authority accused the bank of squandering more than $1.5 billion belonging to the country's sovereign wealth fund after the bank plied employees of the fund with hookers and five-star hotels before losing all of their money in complex derivative trades. I'm going to let that rest for just a second. Let that marinate in you. I'm going to read it again. You all remember the malarkey and the mayhem that was the failed Libyan overthrow operation, which is, kind of blown back on the U.S. deep state and the Anglo-American deep state. You see how Libya is right now a fractured country, but it is swinging east, which is its natural satellite orbit, which is always going to be to the east. And we see how Goldman sucks. Well, they somehow avoided liability. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? Could you believe a world where a bank like Goldman Sachs could go out there and do all sorts of things? They don't even get a slap on the wrist. But if UBS or Credit Suisse happens to move some money on behest of JP Morgan, on the behest of Goldman Sachs, and that money happens to land in an account of a known terrorist financier somewhere in the world, then it's UBS and Credit Suisse that gets fined to the tens of billions of dollars. But Goldman Sachs gets away with it scot-free. So here it is again, during the whole Libyan takeover. The bank, after the first thing, because, the Libyan takeover was all really about, the Islamic Revolution. If you believe that crap. See, do you know of any terrorist group that has a penchant for central banking? Do you know any terrorist group, TJ?
Oh, maybe just a couple.
I mean, you figure that if some terror group like ISIS goes into a country like Libya, overthrows Libya, that the first thing that they set up would be maybe a mosque, right? Maybe some sort of something religious, something, right? I mean, you're a terror group. You're a fundamentalist Islamist. You figure the first thing you do is set up a new mosque, a minaret or something. The first thing that happened in the entire the Libyan operation, this is how you know the BS. And you can Google this yourself, folks. The first thing the terror group does is not set up a mosque, not even capture the oil fields of Libya. But the first thing that they do is set up a central bank. A central bank, which is the concept of the central bank, folks, if you know anything about Islam. The concept of lending money while charging interest is a sin. So why on earth, why the hell would the Islamists set up a central bank? Because it's seriously not their religion, but it is the religion of a particular death cult. And it's their calling card, CJ. It's their calling card that no matter where in the world they go to create chaos and tumult and mayhem, but the first thing they always do is set up a central bank. And we know the names of these cabal, or these Kabbalists, so to speak. The cabal. So Goldman famously avoided the liability of the Libyan investment fund. How? The authorities accused the bank of squandering $1.5 billion belonging to the country's sovereign wealth fund. And how do they do it? Well, the same tactic they use everywhere throughout the world. Well, the same easy tactic before the hitmen come out and bodies start to drop. But it's a tactic of bribing employees who manage the fund with hookers, 5-star hotels, before losing all their money in complex derivative trades. Let that sink in there. Remember what I keep telling you folks over and over and over and over and over and over again. We are in the race for liquidity, my friends. In an age where money velocity is as tepid as it was in 1965, we're in the race for liquidity. We're in a solvency crisis where we have insolvent institutions, these zombie institutions. And what do they need to do? They need liquidity. and they're going to get that liquidity no matter what it costs. And what are they doing? They lost their money. They lost $1.5 billion in complex derivative trades. But as the DOJ ramps up an investigation into the bank's role in sprawling 1MD scandal, Najib Razak siphoned $4.5 billion from the fund. It's looking like the bank, and possibly its ex-CEO, Lloyd Bankline, whose involvement in the scandal was recently revealed by Bloomberg, may not escape culpability at this time. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? But you see, folks, this is what not only Goldman does. We've seen this with banks like even Citigroup, where they get into these land deals. Okay, they get into these land deals. And these land deals were designed to impoverish and take the land away from the people, use the title for the deed, financialize that deed, put it up on the derivatives market, trade on it. Why? They need liquidity. They need liquidity. Yesterday, Goldman shares cemented their largest two-day drop since 2010, crashing to a two-year low after the Malaysian Finance Minister Lim Bang Eng demanded a full refund of the $600 million in fees. They steal the money and then they ask for fees after they lose it all. I want that job. Well, not really. I want to be able to sleep at night with myself. I mean, these guys are deranged. Eng also demanded that Goldman repay the interest rate differential that Malaysia paid, which was 100 basis points over the benchmark rate. Goldman has argued that it has demanded such high fees because it took many of the unrated bonds on its balance sheet, increasing exposure. Because Malaysia said it wanted the money right away for development projects. Of course, Goldman had sold the local currency bonds long before the $1 million bond defaulted in April. So in other words, Goldman took these bonds. They knew they were trash. And what did? They chopped up the bonds. They sold it most likely as a AAA asset in a derivative package. Made their killing 10 times over on it. And they did it right before they knew. They knew very much so that this bond was going to implode. It's going to be junk bond status. It's going to be worthless. So they made a killing and they get away with it. Folks, you got to love the new financial system. It has all the benefits for the banks of nationalization, where they nationalize all the risks and they privatize all the profits. It's a win-win situation for these guys. It's incredible. On Tuesday, Malaysia turned up the heat. The country's 93-year-old Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad accused Goldman bankers during an interview with CNBC of cheating Malaysia. There is evidence that Goldman Sachs has done things that are wrong, Mahathir said. Obviously, we've been cheated through the compliance by Goldman Sachs people, he said without specifying details. The bank's compliance controls don't work very well. A Goldman spokesman in Asia declined to comment on Mahathir's comments. Meanwhile, Mahathir appointed successor Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim told the Malaysian parliament that it needed to take more aggressive measures to reclaim the fees and losses due to the effects on Malaysia's image. And folks, you want to know how it happens, this is it. So the question to you is, why are they engaged in this, let's just call it financial covert operations? Why are they doing that? Why? Well, I'll tell you why. They are liquidity starved, just like everybody else. I want you to visualize a world where you have these financial vampires. They are looking to suck the lifeblood of anything that they get their hands on. And it's not enough. See, it's not enough for taking $1.5 billion. So they got to do it legally. They got to wash it legally. What if I told you the entire derivatives market? What if I told you the entire derivative market, the entire derivative machine was not created by blithe masters, as many would be led to think, but was actually created by certain intelligentsia with deep, deep, deep connections to certain intelligence agencies. What if I tell you that money is never lost in the derivative machine, that it's only transferred? What if I were to tell you, because of high frequency trading, computer rigging, computer algorithms, derivatives, credit default swaps, IR swaps, all these different variations of derivatives, all of these are a machine designed to extract wealth. These are wealth extraction machines. They allow the extraction of wealth legally, because no congressman or senator is smart enough to figure out what a freaking derivative is. So what happens, folks, they can take that $1.5 billion, which in the grand scheme of things is not much coin for a deep stater. And what do? Well, they take that 1.5 billion, they put it into the magic derivative machine. And the magic derivative machine takes 1.5 billion and turns it into 400 billion. Now you're talking. And then voila, it vanishes. It's destroyed. Goldman loses 1.5 billion, which is literally 400 billion in profit to God knows who. But you and I have a hunch who it is. And then Goldman doesn't even get a slap on the wrist. Do you see how the game is played? What if I told you that the derivatives machine is designed explicitly to legally suck money out of funds, out of sovereign wealth funds, out of countries, and to suck it directly into black ops covert coffers? Covert coffers. Perhaps maybe the Emergency Stabilization Fund. Perhaps maybe black ops operations for the certain intelligence agencies. Perhaps it is there to fund Globalism Inc. Do you see now? These are weapons of financial destruction. Not only what they do to Main Street folks, but how they are used to legally fuel the entire enslavement of humanity. Do you get it, folks? Do you get it? It's just not the narco trafficking, the human trafficking. It's just not that. That's still not enough. The greatest thing that provides black ops money, the greatest thing that provides deep, covert financial money and liquidity and solvency for a lot of these deep state black ops, deep cover actors is the derivative machine. Do you get it now? Is it crystal clear? I hope it is, because it's crystal clear to me. The more you look at it, folks, the more this becomes clearer to you. You start to understand that this is not some happenstance, simple mathematical formula and equation that's a little bit complicated in order to be used as a financial instrument to be traded. No. Into the derivative machine goes your mortgages and your titles, your stock positions and holdings, your whatever asset you have, whether it's your car loan, your this loan, your that loan. Every damn thing is financialized, including bloody oil, including the damn dollar, including even now that they're trying to do cryptocurrencies. Everything is trying to become a derivatized asset. A derivatized asset that is so far removed from the actual asset itself that there's no culpability, no blame, nothing can be done. And this is why the entire derivative thing need to be outlawed and stopped. Big problem, CJ.
Massive V.
Well, we got next, folks. We have let's talk about that Saudi invasion, man. How are they underreporting this? It's incredible.
Yeah, just very disturbing. And that's one of the things we looked for was potentially a shift in the Saudi-Yemen, conflict, looking for some type of retreat, but no, it just keeps getting worse. And now we're finding out, V, that the death toll that originally was reported is nowhere near the actual statistics when you factor in things like the starvation, the cholera, all these diseases that are happening as a result of this war. It's tragic.
It is. They're underreporting it. It ain't 10,000 people. It's probably over 100,000 people that have been killed. Certain agencies like the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project, they place anywhere between 70 to 80,000. I wouldn't be surprised. It's over 100,000 because it doesn't include thousands of Yemenis who have died from the war's indirect consequence, starvation being one of them, preventable diseases like cholera, diphtheria. Right? It doesn't. Think about it. Right? UNICEF back in December 2016 said that a child was dying every 10 minutes in Yemen. And a humanitarian crisis has only worsened since then. The Yemen Data Project, another NGO, revealed in September 2016 that at least a third of Saudi-led airstrikes, many of which involve U.S.-built and until Friday, U.S.-refueled planes using U.S.-made bombs, were hitting hospitals, schools, markets, mosques, and other civilian targets. It's left half the hospitals and health facilities in Yemen damaged or destroyed, according to the Yemen Data Project, leaving them hardly able to treat casualties of the war or serve their communities. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And there's no reason why that we sit back and we have no problems with Saudi Arabia, but we have a problem with Iran. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. See, last but not least, let's talk about crazy. Let's talk about the crazy South Africans, bro. Let's talk about crazy South Africa and its racist government. Go for it, bro.
Well, yeah, I mean, it in terms of looking at the BRICS nations, taking a look at the actual the countries that are involved with it, it's just when you think of the things that are happening there, right? You hear as far as the returning the land back to the natives, you learn about the U.S. being there, and when you dig down in, you see a country that is, for the most part, just corrupt. And in a recent meeting, is it Mubani? Mubani, is that how you pronounce that? Mubani?
Yeah.
Mubani, just came out and basically stated that it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, in the age of wisdom. It was the foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. We were all going to direct to heaven. We were going to direct the other way, which he quoted out of a book. And it's tough. I mean, as a country, again, just quoting here, they're at the crossroads between one path going directly to heaven, or as Dickens politely puts it, the other way. And that's currently their state of affairs, and the direction that they are, which direction are they going to go? I mean, it's the corruption in part, and with the government taking a look at the specifically, the other countries that are involved. They have to deem what are they going to do in the future? Are they going to follow the BRICS nation, or are they going to allow other countries to come in and to take their precious metals, to explore their natural resources, all those things? It's a huge conflict for them right now, but unfortunately, too many times, greed and corruption gets in the way, and so it's going to be interesting to see which direction they specifically go.
Absolutely. And folks, with that being said, we're at the end of the show. There's more to it. Today's been kind of crazy with the scheduling. I had a lot of stuff going on. We're trying to find a balance between the YouTube and the Gadfly. I'm telling you right now, most of the action will be in the Gadfly. So if you want a lot of the in-depth analysis, like yesterday's Gadfly programs, we went deep into a lot of things. Go check out the Gadfly, and that's where we are. That's where we're at, and we'll still be here on YouTube. But again, all that action is going to be right there at the Gadfly. So with that being said, folks, see, the link is in the description box or what?
The link should be in the description box.
Perfect. And with that being said, we're over and out. Take it away, CJ.